All right, welcome back. So this is another challenge activity in code.org. This is functions. We're actually adding on to a previous here that we have this character that's going to be collecting this red star. So it says creating functions to organize a game is the name of it. We need to create two more functions, and then there's a bonus as well. So it says create the ball bounce function, create the collect stars function, then it says create a function to set the score whenever a star is collected. Okay, so that one's pretty easy actually too. And then this one says show me how to use the edge sprite. We have a new sprite here where you can basically create a perimeter so that when the ball hits that, it's going to bounce off of it. So let's go ahead and tackle our functions. We already have two previous ones that we created, and now we're going to use the ball bounce. So we'll drag that in here, and then we're also going to do the create collect star function, and then we're going to do the set score because I'm going to tackle that one with you as well. All right, so we're going to have these three. Now we can name these whatever we want, but we're going to go ahead and we'll do the ball bounce. Okay, so what we need to do is if we look at this up here, we need to have it bounce off several things. We need to have it bounce off this brick and this brick. We obviously also need to have it bounce off the paddle. We need to have it bounce off the left edge, the right edge, the bottom, and the top. And these are all just different sprite names for these, and I'll show you those when we make them. So we just need several bounce off of sprites. So not sprites, blocks here. So we have this one. And we got 1, 2, plus the paddle, plus the 4 edges. So we have 7. Let's just drag all those out here. Two, 3, 6. So we need one for, well, let's do ball. And then we need one for the paddle. And then we need one for the brick 1. And then we need one for brick 2. And then the way these work is this is top edge. And then this would be bottom edge. Left edge. And right edge. Now if you wanted to, you could look at they have a direction here for these two, how to show you how to use those, but this is basically how you use them. Okay, and then we want to go ahead and add to this, to the draw function. And again, we want to make sure that we spell it correctly. Okay, so if we run this, see, now we got it bouncing off the wall. Looks pretty good. All right, so that part's done. All right, let's go ahead and tackle our next thing, which is the collector. So we're going to go ahead and collect the stars. Now, basically what we want to do with this is we want the stars to be visible, okay, while they're not being touched, right? And then once it is being touched, we want it to be invisible. So that's already kind of happened. The character is visible. I believe they have. Actually, we may not need that at all. It'll already be visible. So let's make them invisible, or make it false, basically. So this is going to be our collect star. And then we've got two ifs, one for each star. We got this one and this one. So two ifs, and then we need is touching for both of these. So if the ball is touching star, I believe that's the name of it up here. Yep, star, and then you have star 2. Probably should have named that star 1, which we could fix, but that's okay. We'll leave it. And star 2. And then what we want to do is change the visibilities for these. So if it ends up touching it, it's going to be false, which means it's going to disappear. Okay. So if we run that, oops. If it ever touches it. Maybe it will never touch it. There we go. Oh, it didn't make it visible. Didn't make it false. Oh, then I also make sure you add this one to your draw function. And that is collect. I called it collect star, right? Yep, okay. So then that'll work. And we'll add that in. We'll go check that just to make sure once we add in one more thing. So now we have set score. So the first thing we're going to need to do is have a variable. So we need to have a score variable here. Oops. And this is going to be our score. And then we're going to set that to 0. So now this variable we're going to use later on here. Okay, but we're just going to set the score to 0. And then down here, we're going to use it for our set score. So what we want to do is the same thing we did here. Is we want to say, you know, if it's touching, then we're going to have the star move to a spot, and we're going to go ahead and add the score to it, kind of like what we did with this. So let's go ahead and make 2 ifs. All right, so then we need another ball is touching. And then what we want to do is have weird. So we're going to do score. Oops. Right here, we're going to have our score variable go up. Score plus 1. Will it let me do that? Ah, it will. That's awesome. Okay, so instead of going to text, I can just type it in there. That's really cool. I learned that today. Did not know that you could do that. That's cool. Makes that way easier. Okay, so this is going to make the score go up every time the ball touches star 1 and 2. Now there's going to be an issue when this makes it invisible. The star is still technically there, and so it will increase the score regardless if it's there or not, visible or not. So what we need to do is we need to actually move the star off the screen. So let's go ahead and a star. We're going to make it 410. Star 2 and make it 410 as well. Okay, so what will happen is if the ball is touching the star is going to move off the screen and the score is going to go up by 1. And then let's go ahead and add set score here to this too. And gotta do one more thing. We gotta add in some text because we want to show our score up there. Apparently you can type that in. That's amazing. Okay, so there's score. There's going to be a little space there because this is literal text, so this will show up. And then they'll have a space, and then it will place the score. And we'll leave it to go up here in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Oops, wow. Gosh, that was terrible. There's our star gone, and it went ahead and added 1 to the score, and there's 2. And that added many more to that. Interesting. So that's how you make that work. Not sure why. I think our stars are. Not sure why the score would go up. Let's move them further off the screen. If that happened, 4,200 would be quite distant. If that happens to you, it must hit those because it's changing the X location of the star. So the star is like way down here. If that happens and it keeps changing, I'm not sure why it's doing that, but move these a little bit further off the screen. That should be the only reason why the score is going up. Okay, so hopefully that helps you with coding. This is how you make this work. I'm not sure why it's kind of glitching out here on the score, but it is a challenge kind of thing anyways. So hopefully that helps you with your coding. Good luck.